Beyond the Gates spoilers for Friday, July 25th, tease that Naomi Hawthorne decides to throw her full weight behind a new legal showdown involving the Dupree family. Immediately after we pick up the thread from the film, Naomi's resolve becomes almost palpable. She's not volunteering out of convenience. She's driven by purpose. She's recognized some key pieces of information related to Kenny's case, details that could unravel more than just one crime. Vernon Dupree, Kenny's father, plays a pivotal role now, confronting Naomi in a tense private meeting in his dimly lit office. The weight in the air is thick, the pain of a father consumed by grief, the urgency of what must be done, and the price of silence. Vernon opens up, providing Naomi with the entire sequence of events leading up to Kenny's death, naming key players, motives, and timelines. He makes her promise to never disclose any of it to unauthorized party. This is Naomi's first litmus test of loyalty. She nods, pale-faced, knowing she just stepped onto a razor's edge. That same evening, Naomi goes to meet Martin, Kenny's brother, at a quiet tavern on the edge of town. The flicker of streetlight casts uneven shadows across Martin's furrowed brow. He's warily waiting, wary of law enforcement, even more wary of Bill Hamilton. Naomi leans in, voice low and controlled, asserting that she will act as his legal counsel but only if Martin follows the roadmap she's already begun to sketch out. According to her, the wisdom in silence and cooperation outweighs the unpredictable outcome of going it alone. A flash of the battered past passes across Martin's face, but he nods. Naomi is confident. Naomi is capable, and right now, he needs that anchor. Naomi's advice is blunt. Steer clear of Bill Hamilton. She outlines why Bill is a liability, is volatile, untethered, dangerous. Any association could drag Martin into a mire far worse than this trial. With the case unfolding, prosecutors are hungry for confession or cooperation. Bill's shadow looming over Martin could spell guilt by association, and that legal branding would haunt him forever. Naomi backs up her claims with references to Bill's reputation, crooked deals, intimidation tactics, blurred lines between business and criminal activity. Martin glances at Naomi's hands. Clutching a folder inside are excerpts from Bill's legal history and rumored transcripts from Whitman contacts. Despite his conviction in Bill's loyalty, Martin quietly concedes that Naomi might be right. But Naomi's professional calm begins to crack the moment she returns home, steps across the threshold of her upscale suburban house, and finds Jacob Hawthorne waiting in the hallway. He's tight-lipped, eyes narrowed. Silence drapes over them until Jacob explodes, not with anger, but with grief masked as blame. He's known for hours that Naomi's been summoned, but the hushed phone call she took, clear enough to someone in his world, told him Kenny. He lashes out, accusing her of harboring secrets, of meddling in something bigger than a case, bigger than personal ambition. Naomi braces herself. She repeats that she can't say anything, not yet, invoking attorney-client privilege. She's torn. Duty to the truth and duty to her marriage snap like a taut wire. Jacob counters that their marriage has enough cracks. This could be the collapse. Their domains used to be separate. He, a real estate developer with public facade. She, a lawyer with moral compass. The secret? It threatens the hard-built balance. They fight in fragments, snippets of accusation, deflection, wounded pride. Naomi retreats to an upstairs study, unable to hold his gaze, both of them twisted into hurt. Across town, tension erupts in another orbit. Nicole Richardson confronts Bill Hamilton face-to-face, cataclysmic force meeting immovable object in a private conference room at the Hamilton firm. Nicole's eyes burn with fury. She knows Bill ordered Kenny's killing, quietly but surely assembling evidence, a text message from Bill instructing a lower-level enforcer, time-stamped just hours before Kenny was found dead. She's armed with documents, emails, financial transfers, surveillance logs. Bill's rationalizations fall flat, smoke in the wind. He tries the old defense that all he did was protect Martin and the Dupree legacy. Family first, he says. But Nicole isn't placated. She furies that Martin is innocent, caught in collateral damage, and Bill needs to own what he unleashed. The meeting ends with electric chords. Bill threatened her, Nicole threatened him back, and unspoken, "Watch your back," charged through the room. Simultaneously, Leslie Thomas is engaged in legal sparring over alleged assault and battery charges. She has filed claims that Nicole assaulted her at the memorial service for Kenny. Evidence is Thina Bruce, a witness statement accusing Nicole of shoving Leslie as tempers flared. It's messy. Catherine "Cat" Richardson knows this is underhanded, a desperate attempt to discredit Nicole before the bigger truth emerges. Cat meets privately with Eva Thomas, Leslie's teenage daughter, at Cat's downtown loft. She's glib, persuasive, offering Eva compensation and educational favors, promises of covering college tuition if Eva convinces her mother to drop the suit. Cat plays calm, velvet-toned. Eva listens, torn. But Cat underestimates the layers here. She's observing more than absorption. That night, Cat glimpses something she cannot unsee. From the balcony across the street, she sees Eva slip into a car alongside Cat's fiancé, Thomas Navarro. They kiss. The car's headlights fade. Cat's world snaps. She's aghast, feeling every bond twist. Eva, the daughter of her hated rival, consorting with her own beloved. Betrayal floods Catanacitic, visceral betrayal. She storms out, slamming through apartment hallways. At Eva's place, the door bursts open. Thomas and Eva are still tight together. Cat unleashes fury. Thomas is stunned, Eva terrified. Cat's accusations are immediate: betrayal, disrespect, slander of a name she's built. She blurts blame, shifts from Eva to Thomas, calling him a sellout and invading their shared space. She's lost the thread of her original purpose, getting Eva to fix Leslie's lawsuit, and goes straight for retribution. She scratches the words "you knew" into Eva's doorframe before storming out, tears mingled with rage. Meanwhile, Ted Richardson is locked in a separate battlefield with Nicole, under the gleam of marble countertops in their marital home. Nicole is relentless. She reveals that Ted not only kept secret Martin's involvement in the Kenny case, but also had a clandestine affair with Leslie, resulting in her pregnancy years ago. She whispers that this could potentially embroil both families in property battles, custody battles, reputations muddied permanently. Ted tries calm negotiation, agree to a quickie divorce, he offers, almost by contract. Nicole shakes her head. That won't suffice. She's got legal leverage, she argues, enough to ruin him. She questions whether Ted understood the reckless complication of being part of the killer's conspiracy and of covering up Martin's role. That's not just marital betrayal, she asserts, that's conspiracy. Ted collapses in front of her desk, clutching his suit jacket. Nicole's assured, "We'll see who gets the last laugh in court." Back at Martin's small flat, the pressure builds. Naomi sets up a makeshift office in his living room. She's arranged multiple envelopes, each labeled with strategic actions, legal filings, witness interviews, evidence logs. She paces, criteria for credibility running through her mind. Martin listens, staring at the road map laid before him. Naomi's voice is steady. "First, we subpoena the Hamilton communications. Second, we isolate your movements on the night Kenny vanished. Third, we sever you from Bill's connections. Fourth, we prepare witness testimonies from household staff." Martin nods again, raising small clarifying questions. Naomi, anticipating that, has backup notes. It feels surgical. But Martin's personal guilt eats at him. He's haunted by Kenny's last words, an apology, or was it a warning? He's unsure. And as much as Naomi is confident, he wants to believe in redemption. A storm rages outside, the flicker of headlights across his windows as rain taps on glass. Naomi unrolls 2 envelopes, one for Martin, one for Naomi. This is the turning point. Inside Martin's envelope, instructions to cut all ties and tighten up. In Naomi's, an agreement to protect everything they build here. While all this is unfolding, the underlying tension continues to grow in the background. Nixon, a private investigator Naomi suggested she hire, is tailing Bill. Nixon texts updates. Bill is making midnight calls to a number traced to a surreptitious safe house. Bill is meeting Summonia, nobody yet. The envelope found in Kenny's burned car is still missing. Back home, Naomi braces for Jacob's return. She's ghosted through the day, hiding her phone under paperwork. When Jacob steps inside, rain dripping from his coat, he stands in the hall and says nothing. Naomi offers tea, hands trembling. Jacob sips it slowly, looks at her through tired, wary eyes. They're both aware this is metaphorical war. And war is not easily reversed. In the weeks that follow, preparations intensify. Bill rallies his defense network, hiring a high-powered attorney, an old friend of the governor's, one known for burying messy crimes. He's also increased security around his family, keeping Martin under subtle surveillance. Nicole builds momentum, going public. Leaked rumors to tabloids paint Bill as a villain, tyrant, and murderer. Kat convenes lawyers of her own, an expert in defamation law, aiming to intimidate Leslie into backtracking. She also begins dealing with her personal fallout. Anger turns to plans of formal separation from Thomas, whispers of a restraining order. Ted's separatism becomes public. He moves his belongings into a rented storage unit. Mutual silence blankets the marital home. Nicole files for legal separation, citing adultery, emotional abuse, conspiracy. Already, social media is ablaze with speculation. Through all this, the ambient pressure builds. Naomi and Martin are the calm eye of a storm, but even their resolve falters under the weight of confidentiality, fear, broken relationships, and the potential for explosive revelations. The ground is shifting beneath everyone's feet, and one wrong word, one misstep, could send a house of dominoes crashing down. The crescendo edges forward, court filings are submitted, motions for gag orders, subpoenas, depositions scheduled. All parties are readying fireworks. Yet the real threat lies hidden. Those midnight meetings of Bill's, the missing envelope, Nicole's leaked evidence, and Ted's secret beyond the pregnancy that only Leslie knows about. The stage is set. The courtroom was packed. Cameras flashed behind glass. Journalists lined the walls like predators waiting for a break in the fence. Naomi Hawthorne stood at the defense table beside Martin Dupree, her jaw locked and expression unreadable. This was no longer a case about a single murder. It had metastasized into a web of corruption, betrayal, and buried legacies. The judge glanced at the preliminary files stacked like bricks beside the gavel. Opening statements hadn't even started, and already the room buzzed with heat. Naomi knew the coming hours would determine not just Martin's fate, but her own credibility, and maybe her marriage. Across town, Jacob Hawthorne walked through Naomi's old office, reading through the legal correspondence she had left out intentionally or not. He wasn't just suspicious now. He was certain Naomi had crossed a line, not just ethically, but personally. Her obsession with the Dupree case had taken on the weight of a crusade, and he was no longer convinced it was about justice. What disturbed him more was the confidentiality clauses. He found agreements signed between Naomi and Vernon Dupree, bound in secrecy and handwritten with haste. It confirmed one thing: Naomi wasn't just representing Martin. She was protecting something far older, far more dangerous. Jacob put the file back, but the damage was done. Their marriage had dissolved in the silence between truths withheld and lies never told. Meanwhile, Bill Hamilton was cornered. Nicole Richardson had done more than confront him. She'd made good on her threat to leak damning evidence. A memo dated 3 weeks before Kenny's death showed Bill's signature authorizing a surveillance team to deal with the Dupree family situation. Though vague in language, paired with encrypted text messages and financial movements through shell companies, it was enough to launch a grand jury investigation. His name was now poison in corporate circles. Former allies were distancing themselves. His firm's board demanded answers. Bill doubled down, still insisting every move he made was for Martin. But his version of loyalty looked more like a noose than a lifeline. Nicole was emboldened. After years of playing the political wife, managing the image of the Richardson family, she had found a cause worth detonating everything for. Her conversations with investigators were relentless. She handed over files Ted had tried to hide, documents that connected him not only to Leslie Thomas, but also to several questionable financial transfers to a private clinic. One dated just 9 months before Eva was born. The dates aligned almost too well. Nicole wasn't just trying to destroy Ted publicly, she was peeling him apart with surgical precision. At the same time, Kat Richardson faced a different kind of implosion. After her eruption at Thomas Navarro and Eva, she withdrew from the courtroom drama and launched her own quiet campaign of revenge. She filed for a temporary restraining order against Thomas, citing emotional manipulation and deceit. But her real focus was Eva. Kat began spreading rumors within Eva's school, hinting at impropriety, manipulating faculty to call into question Eva's character. It was calculated cruelty, wielded with a socialite's precision. But Eva wasn't as defenseless as Kat believed. She confronted her mother, Leslie, demanding the truth about the case, about Kat's offer, and most of all, about her own paternity. Leslie cracked. In a chilling moment of maternal vulnerability, she confessed that Eva's father may, in fact, be Ted Richardson. Not definitively, but likely. Eva froze. It explained the unspoken tension between Ted and her mother, the private exchanges that never made sense. Eva stormed out, texting Thomas in a panic. She needed to leave to hide. But Thomas, overwhelmed by the legal backlash from Kat, didn't respond. Naomi, meanwhile, began to unravel a deeper thread. In the days leading up to Kenny's death, Kenny had left behind voice memos, encrypted recordings that Naomi managed to access using a passphrase Vernon provided under the table. The recordings were damning. Kenny suspected Bill Hamilton of laundering money through a non-profit shell run by one of Martin's business contacts. But more than that, Kenny feared for Martin. One recording said, "If I disappear, it's because someone thinks Martin knows too much. He doesn't. But he might guess." Naomi knew immediately this wasn't just about a murder. It was about silencing someone who had come too close to uncovering a machine that spanned families and institutions. She presented these findings to Martin, who sat in stunned silence. "This isn't just about you," she said. "It's about everything you're a part of." Martin didn't respond. Naomi knew she had one more card to play. She revealed the name of the clinic where Leslie had delivered Eva and where Ted's name had appeared as the emergency contact on billing forms. Martin reeled. Not only was Ted his mentor and family friend, but also potentially the father of the girl Martin once briefly dated in high school. The implications were grotesque. Martin demanded a paternity test immediately. Naomi warned against it. "Wait," she said. "Let the chaos bury itself. You don't need to become a weapon in someone else's war." Back in court, Leslie surprised everyone. She dropped the charges against Nicole. It wasn't out of remorse, but strategy. After discovering Eva's confrontation with Kat, she realized her daughter was becoming a pawn. By pulling back, she could preserve her position and rebuild legal credibility. Nicole, skeptical of the gesture, still prepared for the worst. She was building a custody case not for Eva, but for control over Martin's business inheritance, believing he was being manipulated by outside forces. She filed an injunction that froze the Dupree trust accounts. This effectively stopped all legal maneuvering from Bill's side. But Bill wasn't finished. One final envelope arrived at Naomi's office and signed, inside a plain manila package. It contained a photo, grainy, clearly a surveillance shot. It showed Martin meeting someone Naomi didn't recognize, outside the same safe house Nixon had been watching. On the back of the photo were 4 words, "He knew before you." Naomi clutched the photo tightly, her brain racing. Had Martin known about the conspiracy and played her the entire time? Or was this another manipulation, Bill's last-ditch effort to destabilize her confidence? Meanwhile, Jacob filed for separation. He cited abandonment, professional negligence, and emotional misconduct. Naomi didn't contest it. She barely responded. Her time now was fully consumed by a war bigger than their marriage. She began taking calls at midnight, consulting shadow contacts, calling in legal favors from former rivals. She was building toward something, a case big enough to rip apart every lie that had been festering beneath the surface of the Dupree and Richardson families. Ted, facing mounting pressure and unsure of Eva's true parentage, attempted to confront Leslie. But she slammed the door in his face. "You don't get to be a father now," she said. "You chose power. You chose silence. Let that be your legacy." Ted turned away, head low, the once proud patriarch now a shell wrapped in regret. Eva, independent of all of them, bought a bus ticket and vanished. She left a note with 3 words, "Tell the truth." It was addressed to both her mother and Kat. It landed on their kitchen counters like a curse. In the courthouse, Naomi made her final play. She presented the recordings, the documents, and the network of relationships that tied the case together. Her closing argument wasn't just a defense of Martin, it was an indictment of everyone who let power override accountability. The courtroom was silent when she finished. Bill Hamilton's eyes met hers, and for the first time, he looked afraid. What the jury decided would soon be announced. But outside those walls, another trial was brewing. Kat, now consumed by personal revenge, had hired a private firm to track down Eva. Ted was preparing to launch a countersuit against Nicole to claw back reputation. And Naomi, alone in her office, stared at the photo of Martin with that unnamed figure, wondering if she had been outplayed after all. The silence stretched. Somewhere, someone knew the final secret. Somewhere, the last lie waited to be broken.